Okay, it's like yesterday. I'm just going to wait and see if anybody shows up. Oops, shaking my desk. Ooh, too bright. You see my dogs climbing in the back. Myself. There we go. I had muted myself. I'm sorry. I just jumped out really quick, so I'm just seeing you now. How you doing? Just my thing here. I just got done dealing with a very hostile, I think he may be an atheist on another channel, commenting. I was remarking to somebody's comment, and then he jumped on me and called me a martyr. I'm not feeling good today. How are you feeling today? I'm actually, it's raining outside, so rain's not very good on the body. You feel fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I don't understand mean people. I really don't. And it's not that I can't be mean. I don't like when I'm mean, but some people are just so angry all the time. I can't imagine living that way every day. Can't be good on the body. But yeah, this poor guy, he's just mad. He's yeah. Well, they've been writing all in the sky, if you know what I mean. So kind of figured it was going to happen. But see if anybody else shows up for the live. I'm probably not going to be on too long today because I'm not feeling the best. So I have some Native American music playing in the background. It's not too loud, is it? There's such a delay in comments. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm trying to do with them. I did put something there that I realized afterward. I'm like, oh, this probably just kind of pushed them further. So I apologized for it. And then said, it's not good to have so much hostility because it'll make you sick. I said, take care of yourself. All I did was I commented to this one Christian person on there, tell them from my experience when I was a non-believer. There was nasty Christians that would tell me my dad is in hell and that my husband's dying mother is in hell. I just don't understand how like mean this guy is, because I wasn't talking to him. And then he comes on and tells me to stop with the martyr crap. What? I don't see what I said was martyr. I just said that's how they were when I was, before I was a believer. I just think it's funny how he's reacting, because it's like, it's not sane. So I'm like, okay, I'm just talking about my experience before I came to Christ. Now I am, I didn't want anything to do with them because the Christians that I bumped into were not very nice. And I said, so maybe that's the reason why some people who don't have Christ get so bent out of shape when people share Christ, because they may have had some bad experiences. That's all I said. I think there are people out here, whether they're trolls or just angry people that are just out to get their kicks, to just be mean and treat people bad. I told them, I don't need your approval of me, and what you say doesn't affect me at all because I'm secure in myself. So better get rid of the hostility or you're going to have some issues. I really am sad for people that are like that, because you just go through life being like miserable all the time. I don't see how that's good for anybody. I really don't. But if he comments again, I just got to leave it alone at this point, because there's no point in going back and forth. I'm just giving him power. And the enemy is really attacking me since I had my live video yesterday. So that's not helping matters. So I'm going to just wait a little bit longer, see if anybody joins us, and then I'm going to go into what this live video is. Hopefully you have some time to hang out. Let's give a little bit. All right, I guess I'll get started. People come in, they come in. Hopefully that guy doesn't show up on here. Otherwise, I'll have to boot him. So today's stream is, and one before I go into it, actually. So I got a little message from YouTube today that they've now changed where you can't go live on your phone. Yeah. Not until you reach 1,000 subs. I'm far from it. Okay, so you can hear it. It's not too loud then. I just needed something soothing, Yeah, so being I'm like, well, I actually reached 190 subs yesterday. I have been on YouTube for about 4 months, so I'm not really growing very well. Thinking about actually calling up Marfoogle tonight. I haven't called the show because usually I'm sleeping when he's on. But let him know what happened on here. But yeah, I had a really, really good live video yesterday. It was very long. It was like 1 hour and 22 minutes. And then I'm like loading this up to give everybody like a heads up that I'm going to be going live. And then let's see. I'm listening. I cannot comment anymore because I got to work. It's all good, girlfriend. So anyway, so today I noticed that I'm down to 188 subs. This is what's been happening. It's been going up like 2 subs, down 2 subs. And then I noticed that I noticed a little pop-up that said that they've changed the threshold to 1,000 subs in order for you to go live on your phone. That's fine. I'd rather use my computer anyway, but it just stinks if I'm out and about and want to do a live video. But I'll just record it and then pull it up. But yeah, they're making a lot of changes, and it really stinks for us small channels because it doesn't really help us to grow and all. But whatever. whatever happens, happens. So, so today's topic is about, well, yesterday we had talked about chronic illness and how it can be a very lonely road for us that have to deal with it. Because whether you just lose friends that you have because you've had to cancel plans a lot, or maybe you realize that they just weren't friends anyway, or a bunch of different scenarios. But really what I want to get into is toxic people. So there is a site, and you should still be able to see me. It has like 8 different things, and it's called the lawofattraction.com. And number 1 is don't expect toxic people to change. You know what? Let's go back here to the beginning. Let's see. So removing toxic people from your life in 9 steps, actually. It's hard to avoid toxic people sometimes. They sometimes appear like something else, and they're sometimes inextricably bound up with our work or family lives. However, there are smart, practical steps you can take to preserve yourself from this sort of damage. Let's take a closer look at how effectively and definitively remove toxic people from your life. So the first one is don't expect them to change. First and most importantly, moving past toxic relationships requires true acceptance of the fact that you can't force toxic people to change. They may imply that they can change, or they may learn to be one who can help them become better. But this is almost always a hopeless project. Toxic people are not motivated by what's good for them or for their relationship with you. They're motivated by their own complex problems and needs. So it's all about them. Okay. So when you give up the desire to change them, it's much easier to let them go. Okay. So toxic people, I'm sure any of you that are watching this video will see exactly who in your life you might consider toxic. It could be a family member. It could be a person at work. In my situation, it was both. It was family member and somebody that I worked with. And if you add, narcissism in there and passive aggressiveness and all this other stuff, it just really makes them even more toxic. It's always going to be about them. It's always going to be about how you weren't, a good enough friend, or maybe, why weren't you there for them then? And you had a completely rational, logical reason why you weren't there. You know what I mean? Like you were on vacation, or you know what I mean? And especially if you're like me and you're a very empathetic and sensitive person, if you even inadvertently hurt somebody or just see somebody that's hurting, it usually hurts you too. And when you have a chronic illness and all, if you take all that in on yourself, you're going to be stressed out naturally, and then you're going to be then sick, because now you're using your spoons. I don't know if you guys ever heard that that statement, spoons, like, using up your spoons. They'll call people with chronic illness spoonies. What it is just a term of you have such and such amount of energy or strength, or what your boundaries are before you have reached or gone over your threshold, whether it's pain, whether it's exhaustion, whatever it is. So when a spoonie says, I've ran out of spoons, they've used up what they have allowed for that day, because they know where their threshold is. I'm still learning to find my threshold. I'm always an overachiever, so that could actually work against me. And I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm a very soft-hearted person, and I care. I even care about people I don't know. I care about that dude that is just hostile. Um, it's just who I am. It's the way I'm made. So I don't want to lose that part of me, because that part of me is a positive thing. And I can relate to people. I can um, be a good ear to listen for people, to people when they're going through stuff and all. But when it comes down to certain situations, it can be really, really tough. And if you're like me and you're dealing with a toxic person in your life, it's going to bring you down quickly. It's going to suck you dry. It's going to emotionally scar you. So it's important that you build boundaries. So the next step is establish and maintain boundaries. So, like I'm talking about. So, manipulative and toxic people drain your resources by constantly pushing you to work harder to please them, making you compromise more and more. This is exhausting and transgresses at acceptable relationship boundaries. Give some serious thought to what you will tolerate and what you won't from partners, family members, colleagues, and friends. When you get a sense that something's not right in your interactions with someone, run your mental boundary checklist and enforce these boundaries deliberately and rigidly. So that goes back to what I was saying in regards to boundaries. Hey, Tony, we're talking about toxic people, darling. And I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter today because it's raining here, and you know how that is on your body. I'm pretty tired, and I probably overdid it a little bit yesterday in the afternoon. And because we had such a great support session, that's what I'll call it, yesterday, I was definitely attacked the rest of the day by the enemy. So pretty pooped. I'm tired. I have to laugh. It just never fails. It happens all the time. In Cali, huh? Whew. I hope this is an okay time for you, Tony. I was trying to keep it like mid-morning because I know I got people sub to me that are on the West Coast. So I may not have a live feed over the weekend. It's family time, so I may stick this with just being during the week. And we're in the process of possibly moving. So, oh yay! So we got a bunch of stuff we got to do. I was just talking about boundaries and how important it is, especially if you identify somebody in your life, whether it's family, a coworker, a friend. Yeah. Okay, good, Tony. Thank you. Or a friend, or I think I said coworker, anybody that you have to deal with either on a daily basis or often. It's important to know what a toxic person is. Hey, love you too. How you doing, Optic Green Eyes? So I was just filling in, Tony. I'm talking about toxic people and having chronic illness and how important it is to. I love your picture, by the way, Laura. And how important it is to recognize who is toxic in your life, and then and then making sure that you make boundaries. So I'm not proficient in this at all. I just want you to know I'm not. So as I'm sharing this to you guys, I'm sharing it for me as well. I'm hoping maybe together we can all work on this and we can support each other. So that's what I'm hoping we can get out of these little support sessions that I want to do every weekday morning. So the third one, moving along here, don't be pulled into crisis. So toxic people often make it seem like they need you because they're always in crisis. But the important thing to know is that these are crises of their own making. So a lot of times, certain toxic people, they just like to create drama. And I know I got some people in my family like that. But the important thing to know, well, no, I read that. Toxic people create drama deliberately in order to attract more attention and to engage in manipulation. So remember, this is the next time you're asked to run to their side. And if you don't, then that's where you might get some kind of backlash or something like that. You might feel bad, but remember that you're not dealing with a genuine person in distress. Excuse me one moment, guys. I am live. It's my husband talking on our camera from work. I know, it's weird. So just remember that you're not dealing with a genuine person in distress. Typically, people who are toxic, and gosh, I hope I'm not a toxic person to anybody else. That'd just be terrible. But typically with toxic people, and they may not realize that they are that kind of person. I highly doubt that they do, because they're usually so consumed with themselves that they don't see, outside of that. And they can be really sweet, nice people, genuinely nice. But maybe they've been through some really horrible trauma in their life, and that's why they are the way they are. However, it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to put up that wall and say, okay, I love you. However, I have to look out for myself. So, hey, Nightblade. Okay. Hope everything goes well there, Optic Green Eyes. It's okay that you're late, girlfriend. We're only on number 3 of toxic people. So let me just look at some comments here. So Tony says, for me, it depends on how wore out from pain, how I handle people like that. Some days I'm stronger. On the bad days, I hide. LOL. Well, and I'm waving back, Nightblade. I get that, Tony, because and do you ever notice that, especially on your bad days, that's when you tend to have an issue arise that you're not able to be your best self? You know what I mean? It just never fails. I really think the enemy does that. He just really wants to drag you down. And sometimes that's just life in itself, because we are in a fallen world. Amen. So we're going to deal with some pretty mean people out there, and which I just did a little while ago on somebody's channel, the video that I made a comment on. He's just trying to get a rise out of me. I'm sure you guys have ran into that when you've commented on things. And I especially love to come after the Christians. So, yeah, see, the phone starts ringing off the hook. It never fails. It's almost like you're standing there with the sign going, hey, by the way, I don't feel good today. Come on over and kick me while I'm down. Right? I refuse to do that to people. I won't do that. And I will not kick somebody while they're down. I feel their pain. I feel for people. There's usually, with most, people who don't have a lot of issues, maybe, are usually going through something. There's usually something behind it. That's why I always say, hey, Jesus, please give me your eyes to see people like you see them, because I can easily get so consumed with myself and go, why are they attacking me? Right? And play the whole victim thing. Yeah, I do that sometimes. No, a lot of times. But I've been trying so much to be able to focus and say, stop. Why are they acting this way? Right? Oh, thank you, Blue Bottle Bunny Farm. I always forget to tell people, yeah, hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed, sub, please. I already lost 2 subs since yesterday. I gained 1 and lost 2. Yeah. Small channel, gotta love it. And I can't do live on my mobile phone, which is fine. I can record and just pull it up because I use the Chromebook anyway for live. Somebody says you're a toxic person. Well, I guess all of us can be a toxic person. I know I can be, especially when I get all woe is me, you know. But I think when you identify it, you're not truly like the typical toxic person, if that makes sense, because toxic people usually can't see that they're toxic. I don't think anybody really unsubbed. I think that the platform did it. It's constantly fluctuating. I've been fighting this for the last 2 months. On Marfoogle, he even mentioned it's so important to help small channels to get them over that 1,000 because they are really trying to get rid of small YouTube channels. Whatever. I'm just like, it's just crazy all the crap they're doing. So let's go to number 4. So focus on the solution. So toxic people give you a lot to be sad and angry about, but if you focus on this, you'll stay miserable and frustrated, even if you're exercising such a person from your social circle. Instead, turn your attention to the fact that you're clearing up a psychological and emotional mess in your life. If you spend much of your time ruminating on and trying to understand a toxic person's negative behavior, they're going to suck away all your resources, even when they're no longer in your life. So this is something I most definitely need work on because I can't let things go. I always said this in other videos where I will give them to the Lord and then I'll take them back. I just dwell and I dwell and I dwell. Well, this is not good for somebody with a chronic illness because what's going to happen is you're going to just like make yourself sick. And then you've ran out of your spoons emotionally. So now you're just like exhausted and in pain and all that. Yeah, I got the like one part here shaved and it's getting a little long. So I gotta shave it, but I didn't do anything. I just washed and left it because it's raining and I'm not feeling that great. So it's amazing. I even put makeup on. So yes, this is what my hair looks down and I don't have very good light in here. I probably should have yes, and I have Alexa because my husband wanted it. He's not a truther like me. So hold tight. Alexa, turn on Omega. Yay! How's that, guys? A little bit more light. I was like way in the dark. That's how rainy and ugly it is here right now. So yeah, I actually have purple in my hair. You can't really see it in this light. It's a black violet. So yeah, I dye my hair. I get white in here. Well, yeah, I'm gonna be 44, and dark hair tends to get white hairs and gray hairs and all that wonderful stuff a little early. So where were we? So on number 4, let's focus on the solution. So like I was saying, this is where I need a lot of work on. I need to stop dwelling on it. I need to say, hey, this is not your problem. It's their problem. Don't take it in. You know what I mean? I know this probably sounds familiar to some of you. So the next one, number 5, is own your difficulties and weaknesses. When you're in a toxic relationship of any kind, you'll notice that the other person tends to exploit your flaws and finds ways to use them against you. However, you can dramatically reduce the likelihood of this happening by simply getting to know yourself and learning to accept your weaknesses. Balance them against your strengths. Believe that you are a good person and commit self-improvement. That way, it'll be old news. A toxic person tries to highlight your perceived flaws, and you won't be easily manipulated by such tactic. So this is where I think, because I do suffer with some insecurities, one of my problems is being a people pleaser. And that's impossible. You want to talk about exhausting yourself. You're not going to please everybody. It's never going to happen. And I tell myself this all the time. But when I was a child, I was always trying to please my mother. And I felt like I never could please her. And I think what that's done is it's kind of just kept going into my childhood. And so I'm always wanting to make everybody like me, and everybody, well, you know what? A lot of people like me. Okay. I'm personable. Okay. So what I need to do is be secure. Like I told that guy, I'm secure in who I am. Well, that's just only slightly the truth. But I need to be secure in the person that I am, in my relationship with Christ. As well, okay, because he tells me a whole bunch of things: that I'm loved, that I am a child of God the Father, that I am an heir of a kingdom. So that makes me a princess. And see my make-believe crown? And he says that I am righteous through him. So right there is a bunch of great stuff, right? That's truth. Then it's important for me to each and every day, with little mantras or whatever, and look at myself in the mirror and say, you're beautiful. You're beautiful inside and out. And what's super important is what's inside. You are nice. People feel comfortable to talk to you. And you truly care about people, right? And you have a big heart. And my grandmama always said, I wear my heart on my sleeve. So I'm a big old softy. However, I am a scrapper if I need to be. Somebody messes with somebody I love, they're getting taken out. I'm sorry. I'm a fighter. I mean, it's not always good to be that way, because we really are supposed to be loving and share the love of Christ with others. But if it came down to it and I needed to defend somebody, oh, I will. However, I'm not really good at defending myself. And I think that's just that whole learning to love yourself. And when you think about that, I say that I love deeply, but if I don't love myself very much, how really can I love others? You know what I mean? I mean, I could say I love them, but yeah. Oh, I have high respects for people who wait tables. That's a rough job. Yeah. So our next one, number 6, is understand projection. Let me get a drink of water here. My throat's dry. Part of removing toxic people from your life involves reducing their power over your emotions. And that requires recognizing that they're not really seeing you when they're hurting you. In truth, they're projecting onto you the parts of themselves they don't want to acknowledge or accept, so that they can pour all their suppressed self-hatred into attacking you. See their cruel behavior for what it is, a way of avoiding the truth about themselves. And that is so true. And that makes me think of like bullies, in school. A lot of times bullies are going through, whether it's like issues at home or maybe they got issues with themselves. And sometimes what they do is, in order to remove the focus on them, and I mean their focus, they will be hostile to somebody else because they're just so unhappy. I can't imagine going through life like that, because that in itself will make you sick. Everybody has some type of insecurities, right? I mean, if you really think about it, you can work on those insecurities so that they're not damaging for you anymore. But all of us at some time or another have insecurities, and it can, come from some type of traumatic event or whatever that causes you to have this. And so like my thing is like worrying about people being mad at me and not liking me and stuff like that. But why do I worry about that? I shouldn't worry about that. I am loved, right? Like I said, and there are plenty of people who love me for who I am, right? So obviously there's something there that I got to work on myself in order to not allow that to run my life, right? It's not worth it, for one, getting sick over and everything else. So um, it goes back to those boundaries again, right? Um, I'll use this as an example. Now, I'm not saying this is in my case, but like, say somebody's doing a video like this and they got a toxic person in their life, right? That person could maybe watch the video and then right away say, "Oh, you were talking about me." And that's not at all the case. That's another example of the different things that can happen with somebody like that in your life. Like, I could be just talking about the subject and then my mom watches the video, which she doesn't. She barely operate the remote control. But she watches the video. Why were you talking about me? And then it could have been absolutely not about her. You know what I mean? But this is what they do. They'll make it about them. Um, and I really hope I'm not toxic in somebody's life. I feel really bad. Know that they may resist. So toxic people often throw tantrums when they feel ignored. Gosh, sounds just like the person I worked with. This is usually because you're stopping them from being able to control or manipulate you. They may increase their previous tactics tenfold, but eventually they will back off and look elsewhere to meet their needs. Don't give in when their behavior escalates, and instead remind yourself that you're teaching these people that their old behaviors will no longer work. So I guess in a way, you're helping them by helping you, right? And the next one is choose your battles carefully. On a related note, make sure you choose your battles wisely. Conflict with toxic people requires huge amount of energy and time. Just remember, you don't need to engage in every fight that they might try to instigate. Instead, save that energy for looking after yourself and for nourishing relationships that are genuinely healthy. And then number 9, surround yourself with healthy relationships. I think that's extremely important. Finally, removing toxic people from your life can be deeply painful, as you may deeply care for some of these people in spite of how difficult it is to have them in your life. To maintain your resilience and cope with any sadness, stay in close contact with those who make you feel safe, cherished, and happy. These are the people who will model healthy friendships and relationships, reminding you exactly why you are choosing to sever toxic ones. So that's important. If you have healthy relationships around you, that's also going to be a continuous reminder when you run into a behavior that is not healthy. And then you'll know, okay, this is not good for me. I need to put up that barrier. This is not going to help me in any way. And that way you have basically like a warning, kind of like the backup camera in your car. And if it goes beep, 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 it's like, hello, red alert. This is not going good. So, because you need to take care of yourself. And this is what I'm learning right now is like, look, it's okay to love people. Like, I mean, my mom's my mom, I can't get rid of my mom, nor do I want to. I mean, she's my mother, but I can set up boundaries where I say, okay, look, I'm walking away because this is not going into a good direction. Okay. I am not going to listen to this. When you want to have an adult conversation and want to, talk politely, then we can return to this conversation. Something like that. I also need I need to step back and not take everything on myself. I think what happens is other people's issues become my issues. And I need to stop that right there. I have my own issues and don't need to be taking on other people's issues. You know what I mean? And then at the end of this, let's see what they say here. Oh, there's like this little thing here. It says, have you ever been overwhelmed or weighed down by a negative comment from a friend? This feeling can be triggered by a thought, another person, an event, or anything that triggers a negative association. This is the stimulus. Realize the problem is inside you, not in the other person. So sometimes somebody can say something to us and it may, like an insecurity, and it may signal that insecurity. Um, uh, you know, let's see, I'm trying to give an example. If somebody gets mad at me, for example, because I'm so concerned about how people feel about me and pleasing people, that this will destroy me. That's how bad that insecurity is. So if somebody is upset with me or whatever, I will take that so much to heart that it'll make me sick, honestly. So I have to remember that I got to work on that. It's not necessarily that somebody's hating me because they're upset with me. People aren't going to always agree on things, and you're going to mess up and either inadvertently hurt somebody or maybe advertently hurt somebody. But you gotta work on that, whatever your insecurity is inside yourself, because you're going to see every single time something like that happens, you're going to see it as, oh my gosh, they hate me, or this and that. And you can't do that. It's just going to be a never ending cycle. Another thing I need to work on. We can't change people. We can only change ourselves, right? So we really need to look inside ourselves, really need to get to know ourselves. It can be painful because you're going to have to dig up stuff that isn't really favorable on yourself, and identify it and make goals and try to work on that. Be more conscious of saying certain things that is taking you down that road. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's it for the whole toxic people conversation. I want you to know that I was not speaking about anybody that watches my videos. Just want you to know that. I was, however, thinking about certain people that I worked with that really helped. I mean, honestly, I can only take responsible for myself because I gave her that power. But she is a good example of a toxic person, and certain family members as well. And so there we go. So I love you guys. I'm going to head on out of here. I want you all to take care of yourself. Please know that I love you from the bottom of my heart. And I'm so glad that I have you guys to go on this journey with. And hopefully we can help make ourselves well again. Okay. All right. Celestial Piper, aka Danielle, from Soldier of the Watch. Be safe. You are loved. You are precious. And have a beautiful weekend, my darlings. Bye. You have a great weekend, Tony. Hold up. I just saw a couple people jump in, and I wanted just to shout them out, so I'm not going to leave yet. Hi, Christy. Oh, we were just about ready to end. Oh, I'm knocking things down. Watch out. You said you're 34. My chronic. Yeah. Me and Tony can definitely empathize with you there, girlfriend. Yeah, and I'm learning exactly that. Boundaries are so critical. They are. They are critically important because, and even just setting boundaries for yourself as far as, look, I'm going to clean today, but I'm not going to clean the whole entire house. I'm going to get the living room done. Okay. And then the next day I'll get this done, because if we do too much, then we ran out of our spoons again. And now we're like down and out for a good couple weeks or a month. You know what I mean? And even a day being down and out when you, especially if you have a family to take care of and stuff like that, could be totally detrimental. And it's good to see you, Andrew. the good one is on. Join if you need followers. Oh, okay. I'll take a peek at it. So Christy, come back and visit us again. I will be on live again anywhere from 10:30, Monday through Friday. I'm going to do this kind of support group for us who are us spoonies who are dealing with chronic illness. And I'll try to have a different topic change. And if there is anything you guys want me to talk about, please leave a comment in the section below, and I will look into that for you, and we can go from there. This is not just my channel. This is our channel. Okay. I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Okay. God bless you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.